subs and the number of teachers that we have that may not be subs. Mrs. Winters, in fact, Mrs. Winters, while we're waiting for that to be set up, I was asked a number of questions with regard to the subs. Ms. Winters, if you could just verbally, because we're not getting that up.
Ms. Silva, if you could come to the microphone, Mrs. Winters, please, to the microphone. There was a question last time, paraphrase, about teachers leaving and fill-ins and substitutes. Could you quickly respond to that for the benefit of the public and the board?
Sure. From September 1st of 2011 through today, the district only had 12 teachers resign. There were a variety of teachers, special ed, math, language arts, literacy.
Some of those teachers elected to resign, which was an election they made due to other issues also.
Okay, there was some question as to the number of substitutes in the building. We actually have 20 teachers right now currently in the district that are on maternity leave. So we do not have substitutes replacing them. We actually have certified teachers on a temporary contract. So the concern was that we have a lot of substitutes. We do have a lot of substitutes in the district, however, they are all certified teachers.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Now, the 20 teachers that are on leave, you mean tell me we don't have any subs at all?
We have certified teachers for almost everyone except the ones that, there were 2 in one school that actually put in notice for an emergency, difficult pregnancy, so they left this week. So that would be the only 2 that have substituted.
Okay, so the 20 teachers that are on leave are being replaced by 20 certified teachers.
Certified teachers with the temporary contract.
Okay. But it seems kind of weird that every time we get the agenda, there's always at least 10 subs or 15 substitute teachers being added to that list. What are we doing with those substitutes?
Well, those substitutes just get approved, so they come on a per diem basis. So
Laura, is this analysis you did based on board approval, board agendas?
yes.
Okay, are we ready with the presentation?
We are ready.
Feel free. If we could direct our attention to the gentleman on the left.
Good evening, board members, parents, teachers. All right, here we go, that's better. My name is Marlon Lindsay. I'm from Imagine Learning. We're a language and literacy software company. Our basic charge and only charge is to help kids read, get to grade level and read beyond grade level. We have a unique way of doing that, we think. One of our unique features is we are strong with our English learners, strong with our struggling readers. Our pre-K we are strong with, and also our special education students. I want to take just 8 minutes to give you, so that's the real shortened version, to give you an overview of the program, and hopefully make a case as to why it's going to be instrumental in your district, as it is in many districts. We're in 9 of the top 10 school districts by student population across the country, and we're doing a tremendous job for them, and I think we can do a tremendous job for you as well. So Imagine Learning, we're making a difference for teachers, and we're for students, and we're empowering teachers. It is my belief, and is our belief in this company, that the stewardship of our young is our common and greatest calling. The responsible development of their being is our greatest opportunity. Everything else is fleeting. Our charge is to make sure that we leave this world a better place for our kids than we found it. And to that end, we love to work with the Lakewood school districts to do that. So Imagine Learning, we ask a question of every school district: what's your number? And that question simply means, what is the number of struggling readers that you have that are not reading on grade level? How many students will you get to read on grade level this year? That's a real tangible number that if we're not planning for it, we'll miss it. Who does that include? And the better question is, who does that not include? And how will you do that? These are my kids. This is why I work. And like you, working for your kids, our charge is to make sure our kids have the greatest opportunities. Marilyn Yeager Adams, a researcher on language and literacy, she said this, she noted this. kids who have things working for them show up to school with 3,000 hours of pre-literacy preparation. That means mom's reading to them, dad's reading to them, they're going to the library, they're reading books. If they are not that fortunate, they're showing up to school with between 50 and 250 hours of pre-literacy prep. Now, we're talking about 3,000 hours versus 250 hours at best. And they are to learn in this classroom, same 6 hours, same teachers. We're to teach the kids with 3,000 hours the same thing that we're teaching the kids with 250 hours. It's just not going to happen. Teachers can't do it. They're not superhuman beings. The only way we think that it can happen is with the advent and the use of technology. So through technology, we can shrink that gap for you. Imagine learning, there are 3 concentric circles to our program. The most important one is we are a language instruction program. That means we're teaching kids how to read. We're not just exercise, it's not just an exercise program, it's an instructional program. We teach the big 5. When you talk about reading, you want to make sure that you're teaching vocabulary, you're teaching phonemic awareness, you're teaching phonics, fluency, and comprehension. And so we're an instructional program. Not only are we an instructional program, but we're individualized. That means that when your child gets on the program and when my child gets on the program, it's intuitive enough to know that they're different and that they're reading at different reading levels. So that the child that comes in with 3,000 hours and the child that comes in with 250, they're getting a different curriculum, specific curriculum to their reading level and their needs. We also teach what we call BICS. That's our basic interpersonal communication skills. For emergent literacy, or for emergent language, students that are just picking up the language, it's important that they have these common phrases, hi, my name is Jose, or my name is Marlon, that they actually have not only the language, but examples of what that language sounds like, looks like, from not just adults, but kids, different kids. Kids that look like them, kids that look different from them, kids that sound like them in other ways. And then there's a basic vocabulary component that we teach that is terrific for your emergent literacy, as well as your pre-K early childhood education. And then the most critical component to language and literacy is the academic language. It's almost like school language. If your kids don't understand this, don't know what the language of school is, chances are they're not going to succeed in school. The most critical determinant of success in school is the cognitive academic language. Do they understand words like be specific with your answer? Can you speculate? Things like that. We teach 1,000 academic language. At the bottom we have probably Lakewood, one of the most unique and important features. It's called first language support. We support 14 different first languages. That means that if a child is dual language and they're struggling with the language, one of the easiest ways to give them help is to provide them help in their first language. And so we do that with Spanish, Japanese, French, Arabic, Chinese, Korean, Haitian Creole, Russian, and so on. When they're struggling, when they need a little more help, we are going to help them in their native language. Powerful feature. And that fades as they become more proficient with the language. How am I doing on time? All right, I'm going to zip through real quick and just highlight some of the areas. One of the really great things about this program, it covers just about all your struggling readers' needs. Your early childhood education, so pre-K, we start with pre-K. Your English learners, your student with disabilities, and your struggling readers. First language support, we just talked about those Marshallese, Vietnamese, or some of the others, Korean, Tagalog, are some of the languages that we support. And again, helping kids learn how to read by providing support in their first language is critical to bridge the gap between their native language and English. We give strategic first language support, we just mentioned that. Measurable gains. How do you know they're learning? Well, we're going to track every click of the mouse that they use on Imagine Learning. We're tracking that. And we're going to tell you what they're doing. We're going to tell you how they're doing. Not only are we going to tell you what they're doing and how they're doing, we're going to tell you what they've mastered, what they need help with. Academic language, we talked about that. That builds, that's the greatest predictor of academic success. Our program is research-based. We consulted a lot of smart people within our company and externally to create the most prolific reading program I believe that's out there. And this piece is very important. It's a tutoring technology. That means we're not going to require an awful lot of time from your teachers. All we need your teachers to do is to set them up and get them going. It's a tutoring technology. It's very, very interactive, and the kids love it. So we're for intervention, remediation, acceleration. These are some of the names that have gone into the research, and I'll just skip through them in the interest of time. But just to let you know, a ton of research has gone through this. RTI, big buzzword, very, very critical in academia today. RTI requires that in order to give your kids the greatest support, you need to have a high quality scientific based instruction. It's got to have ongoing assessment. That means we're not going to wait till our state standards test before we test them. We're going to test them not just monthly or weekly, every time they have a session. Every time they have a session on the program, we're assessing them. So it's highly adaptive. Tiered instructions and parental involvement. We're going to send you reports home in your first language if we have it in the 14th. So if you speak Spanish and your kids are in the school system, we'll tell you what they're doing in your native language so that if you're not proficient with the language yourself, you're not struggling to figure out what's going on. This is an important graph. This looks different for every single child because we have this placement test. We're going to test them in the beginning to see where they are. Every one of these charts will look different for every single child because every child is at a different spot in their academic evolution. So we're testing for listening, comprehension, conversation, songs and chants, and mimic awareness. If we test the child initially and we think that they're struggling with letter R, if after a couple of activities they learn letter R, for example, we're not going to run them through the traditional path. We're going to accelerate that path because every child will have a unique experience on the program. We test them, we teach them, we test them 3 times. So we're not, again, this is not just activity. 1 minute. This is not just activity. We're going to test them. We're going to teach them, test for mastery, reteach, test for mastery, reteach. And then at the end of this, if they still haven't mastered the concepts that we're teaching, we'll have reports that will show you exactly what they were taught, what they mastered, and what they struggle with. And with this, a teacher can take this information and provide your students exactly what they need. So instead of teaching a broad range of lessons, it becomes individualized, it becomes specific. It is a terrific program that is working tremendously in New York City, in Buffalo, in Rochester, over in Bradley Beach. And so we think that we can help your district. The best thing about our program, though, is not the terrific program that it is, it's the after support. When we partner with the district, we are there to make sure that what you're looking at, which is outcome and achievement, is the same thing that we're looking at. So our support is the best thing that we do with this program. I thank you for your time. Questions? Yes. That's the 8-minute version.
With the other districts that you're in, are you able to provide, say the district for the failing district, are you able to provide the progression of the test scores to see exactly when the program was used, has it helped improve the test scores in some schools?
Absolutely. I have one terrific example in Chula Vista, California. It was a failing school district. And after 4 years, they've adopted a program across the entire district because they've aligned it with the state test scores. They went from the bottom of the pile in California to the top of the pile.
Is the diversity in that district the same as the diversity we have here in this district with a high population of Spanish speaking?
Absolutely. Well, Chula Vista, California is right on the border of Mexico and California. So not only is it almost identical, we probably have more Spanish speaking, but it's also transient too.
Through the chair, we do have an addendum about this tonight. I just want to make sure this gentleman agrees with what it says here. Approve a memorandum understanding to purchase 573 annual licenses of Imagine Learn English. This order will include the purchase of installation services at 2 schools within the district, 172 free bonus licenses, and 112 free pilot licenses. Total cost of 6-month partnership is $46,000, is that correct?
Yes.
What 2 schools are we targeting, Ms. Silva?
We're targeting at this point the Clark School, and we're looking very seriously at the Spruce Street School.
And what happens, sir, after 6 months? Because it seems like this is a 6-month partnership. What happens next?
In 6 months, we will take a look at the data. to see whether it's working for the district or not. Our thinking is that it will, because we've seen it before, but you need to see for yourself.
Would it be fair to, I'm sorry, Carl, give me one more second. Would it be fair to say that, do you do any other districts in New Jersey?
Montville, Bradley Beach, Dunellen.
Would it be fair to put in here that this is the lowest price you offer currently in New Jersey?
Without a doubt.
So we can put that in as a term of the approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Through the chair,
I'm sorry about that. No,
I would just like to know from the parents who are here, are they all for this program? Because I personally think it's excellent.
El miembro de la Junta quiere saber si los padres están interesados en este programa, como lo ha hecho el señor.
In that 6 months' time, are you able to give a good evaluation during that short period of time?
Based on data.
Yeah.
We're going to give a fair evaluation. Ideally, what we want is a year. Quite frankly, what we want is a year.
Well, let me interrupt then through the chair. Is 6 months enough time to give us some data that has some basis to make further decisions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair.
On one condition, which I know we have, because we have terrific administrators, we must apply this program with fidelity, absolute fidelity.
Well, fidelity means things to different people. What are you insinuating?
This program requires four times a week, 30 minutes a day. So 2 hours a week, each child that's on the program needs to...
And who does that? The teachers or your people, or who does that?
The teachers. And
how do they get trained to do this?
We will train.
Is that included in this?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Through the chair. I'd like to suggest that we vote on this right now.
I have another question. Now, are we able, I know this was a question at the last meeting that actually was someone in the 6th grade I wanted to see. Now, are the schools able to be ready to go on board? And he also said that the 4 times a week, where are we going to fund the time to have this program done 4 times a week?
One of the things that I've done throughout my career is try to introduce more and more technology here since the 80s. The way that this can be done without interrupting any of the courses is to assign children specific times to do it. We've not seen any loss of instructional time as a result of having children know exactly what they're doing. So if the 3 of us are children and we are on it, I know that at 9:45 I go on it and there's a specific amount of time, and then the next one is perhaps mayor and then you. So there's a chart up. That's one way of doing it. I don't know if Roland has another better way of doing it, but we try our best, just like we've done with other programs.
Through the chair.
Can't sacrifice content. So
What happens after 6 months? What is the cost for the next 6 months?
Our pricing is real simple. It's $150 per child per year.
$150 per child
Per year.
So, and I'm a fine Lakewood graduate, I am, but it's 573 licenses. Does that mean students?
Yes, one license per student. Yes.
So it's 573 times. So 573 times 150 equals 46,000.
No. This is a special pilot program price. Yes.
Is the pilot for 1 school or 2 schools?
For 2 schools.
2 schools. Clark.
Very good.
And we're through the chair or through the administration, are these going to be, what funds are we paying this with? Is it general funds or title funds?
we are looking at title funds. I'm sorry I got caught off guard. I know I had it in my notes. We're looking at title funds.
So then it should say paid through title funds.
Yes.
Is that 150 per year or per 6 months?
Per year.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you asked if this is the lowest. You've got a phenomenal opportunity. We think this will benefit the students of Lakewood so much that we've given you a phenomenal opportunity to check it out.
Is there any guarantees?
No, but our program works.
No.
Through the chair. I would hate to make Mr. Lindsay wait all night to hear what we think about this, so I'd like to make a motion to vote on this right now.
I second it.
There would have to be a motion to go out of order. All in favor of going out of order? Any against? Seeing none, approve memorandum of understanding to purchase 573 annual licenses of Natural Learning English. This order will also include the purchase of installation. So the installation is included.
Yes.
And professional development.
And professional development is included. Services at 2 schools, Clark and Spruce, 172 free bonus licenses, 112 free pilot licenses. Total cost for 6-month pilot partnership will be $46,000. They are certifying that this is the lowest price in New Jersey for the services included, and it will be paid through title funds, provided title funds are available. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fink? Mr. Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
Ms. Mikio? Mr. Tiff?
I just have one more question. Mr. Tashada, are the, I know we talked about the Wi-Fi working, the computers working, I know we have the Apple card working. Are we able to, based on what Ms. Silver just said, on the amount of hours that we need to, in order to make this happen, are we set up either in the classroom or in a lab, that, the computer lab, capable to hold about, how many kids in the lab? How many computer labs do we have in the Clark, and how many kids can you hold in those labs?
Each school is different, Mr. Shashada would know that, but we're also looking at having a combination of lab as well as the, we're looking to look at also the use of the iPad.
Now, would the program be compatible with that?
Not the iPad. There's several ways to make sure that we get fidelity in the program. One is through the lab, wherever there's a computer. So look at if we follow the child, we look at the child, wherever that child goes, if there's a computer there, we'll install the program on there. So not just in the lab, could be the library, could be the classroom. There's several computers in each classroom. So wherever there's a computer, we'll install the program. They'll have an opportunity to use it.
When is this set to start so the teachers and the parents and everyone knows? Ms. Silva?
As soon as we get this approved, it'll start.
Well, when is it?
We're waiting on Mr. Tipp's approval.
I understand that, but I'm not gonna answer my question. With now, the Apple cards that we have, will it be compatible to be installed in those kids?
Yes, absolutely.
If the board were to approve this tonight, when will it be functional in the schools? If the board were to approve this tonight, how quick or slow can it be functional in the schools?
We can get going at 2 weeks after we receive the PO, but we have to be tight.
You have to be what?
We have to be tight. We have to be on schedule. So we'll have to work with their schedule. You'll have to work with ours, but we can be up and running within 2 weeks.
How often is the professional development?
Well, we'll give the first professional development. So there are 2 ways we support. The formal professional development, the first one comes right after we install. The second one will come 3 months later to give usage and experience on the program. And we come in with a different level of training. But ongoing support is...
Is there ongoing support, just in case, by the first time you have professional development, the teachers are not 100% aware?
Yes, we have a technical rep that's dedicated to New Jersey, to the Northeast, and then we have an 800 number that's always answered by a live person.
And you always have 24/7 tech support?
Absolutely. Yes, 24/7, live person.
How would the students just like
We're looking at the children that are identified as bilingual children, children in need of ESL. So even the children that are not necessarily in the bilingual program, but who have been designated to be ineligible for ESL, those are the children we're looking at. Those are the ones we're looking to give a jump. Because we have teachers with content expertise, but as Mr. Lindsay indicated, this supports what they're doing in a big way.
Ms. Silver, we're going to direct this at the younger children.
Yes, it is specifically for the younger children.
Mr. Trashada, do we have the equipment, does the teachers, I don't know, do we have the equipment to do this as envisioned currently in the district? That's a yes or no?
Yes.
Now, your name?
Not the iPads.
Sir,
Sorry.
our technology director, Mr. Trashada, do we have the current equipment to do as envisioned here?
Through the chair, I think the more important question is if this program, which I hope is successful, how do we expand it to the other schools next year and the schools that we're doing this test on now?
We'll talk about it after we see the success.
Yeah, we gotta look at the data, and that's one of the important things, because if it's successful in these schools, it'll be successful in the other schools, so we gotta see the data.
All right, thank you. Through the chair, if we could have a roll call on this, please.
I'll continue with Mr. Tiff,
Yes.
Mr. Brunette,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Mr. Lindsay, while you're here, if you could confirm this to be signed out. Thank you.
Through the chair, I would like to go, make a motion to have the BOE election date switch from April to November.
What do you have this back? Is there, I'm forgetting, what, Mr. Tiff, could you say that again?
I didn't say
That was
anything.
Mr. Fink. I would like to make a motion, to have the Board of Election date switch from April to November.
Okay, there's a motion.
I second.
There's a second. Roll call. Discussion if necessary.
What would be some of the pros and cons of moving the election? 'Cause I'm still not clear about how is us doing it from November benefit the district in any way?
Who are you directing that to?
Whoever has the answer.
All right, well, Mr. Fink made the motion.
One of the advantages, you would have a large amount of populace from Lakewood who go out and vote in the general election, who do not go out in a board of election for school board members. We'll have populace, hopefully the people that are in the audience, other people, and hopefully one day we'll see a lot of different people on the Board of Education.
Can I
Okay.
ask you something, Mr. Fink?
Yes, of course.
Does this, the fact that we make the elections in November, does this kind of drown out the voices of a lot of the unions and teachers and the people that really care about the children?
No, just the opposite. As many people who will vote, on the school board election, and then instead of just a few thousand, get a much larger cross-section of Lakewood voting. And it's a general election that hopefully people who do turn out will vote on a local election.
But Mr. Fink, all I'm asking you is that the people that really don't care about education,
That's,
and for the fact, and as we see, because they don't come out to the elections in April, are we now opening the door for them to come and vote in our election?
no, everybody cares about elections. Unfortunately, it seems it's one-sided in Lakewood.
All right. Is there any other?
What about budget, I believe that the people are being stripped of their rights to have any say in the budget by
No,
making the
because not
election.
really. If you're asking me, once a budget, there's a 2% cap on it.
Now that's a legal thing. If you do move the election to November, should the board put forth a budget which would raise it up to 2%, the public would not vote, but that would still require the board to put forth a budget.
And the board could always vote it down. Plus, basically, it's
Board, not the people.
That's correct.
So you're taking the power out of the people's hands.
People should
I'm
have the
not
right
taking the board out of the people's hands. It's really a fine line who votes on it now. It's been our board who has been voting down the budget. It hasn't been the people. We need to.
The people have voted no on the budget.
Hold it.
Now we're taking away that opportunity from the voter.
You asked me a question. You want to answer it or can I answer it?
Go ahead, go ahead.
The bottom line basically is every single district in Lakewood has approved this.
No, in Ocean County.
Ocean County.
I'm sorry, in Ocean County, I apologize.
That is true.
I cannot understand how there's even a question here. Not every district in Ocean County is doing something wrong. If there's something wrong, it's right here in this room.
Maybe other Board of Eds are not sensitive, like our Board of Ed is, to the voter.
Mr. Greenspan, what is your name? Mr. Friedman?
You forgot her?
Yes. Can we get to facts and not fiction, please?
Yes. Please explain to us the pros and cons.
Who should, I didn't make the motion.
Oh, okay, Jen.
I made the motion. It was a second. Can we vote on it, please?
Please roll call.
Mr. Friedman,
No.
Mr. Greenspan,
No.
Ms. Micchio,
Well, I thought about it and I thought about it and I have decided what I'm gonna do. We are taking the right of the voters to vote yes or no on the budget. If you move to November, so
Well, she was told to say that, so
maybe
let's
I'll
move on.
stay.
Yeah. She was.
he's right, Mr. Tiff,
He's right.
Mr. Grunhut, and Mr. Fink.
Hold on, how we voted?
Mr. Fink,
Wait, Mr. Grunham.
I thought we voted. I brought the motion up. I
you
voted.
didn't vote, I didn't ask you
Oh,
first.
I vote yes.
Mr. Grunup, what did you vote?
No.
Didn't he vote? I'm just asking. That's all I'm doing.
He did vote yes.
No, it's not vote. I thought they called it. Yes. The word there, that's what they called it.
Okay.
Why does the motion count if I can ask? Who voted yes and who voted no, please, for the record?
Mr. Fink voted yes. Excuse me.
3-3.
Mr. Freeman, no. Mr. Greenspan, no. Irene, I believe, abstained. Mr. Seidler is not here. Mr. Silver is not here. If I'm all correct, Mr. Tip was yes. Mr. Slatkin's not here. Mr. Grunhut's no.
So the motion fails.
Motion fails.
Okay.
Now, is this a year, is this something that can be voted on every year?
I know if you voted to change it, then it would be for 4 years, I believe. You couldn't go back. But this is for, the deadline is February 17th to change it to a November election. Thank you.
I understand, but that.
I would have to, I'm going to need to process that before I answer. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, I have a question for you. Now, if there was no vote, does it automatically go?
Now, if there was no vote, it required. Oh, it's I don't know if it's you, I'm getting confused here.
I don't speak Spanish.
Yes, you do. Hablas español, you do. You are like a graduate, you took Spanish. Did you not?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay. Your question was, it could take, either the township committee could vote to move it, the board could vote to move it, or the local populace could vote to move it. The deadline is February 17th, sir.
Now, Mike, does that, is it being moved, like, we pay for the elections, right? Not pay for them, but we're gonna have them? Is that a cost to us?
That is a cost. I don't know the cost. There is a cost. If you would be the only district to do this, there would be a cost associated with this. If you keep it in April because you're the only district doing it. If you would move it to November, my understanding, based on state websites and information I've gotten from DOE and other sources, unlike an April election, the school board would not incur base costs for the payment of board workers, voting machines, overtime, rental, or other costs of election if it was held in November, because they're either covered by either the state or county.
So we would save money, correct?
You would say you wouldn't expend money, which is saving money.
Okay. So we would save, how much you think?
Now for me,
$80,000.
well, I gave a number out when I sent an email to the board on Saturday night. I was told about 30,000. That was told to me through the business office. That's an approximation. Okay. Okay. Now we will.
We may be saving a lot more voting on the budget.
Okay, we're gonna go next to Dr.
Dr. Desputa and Ms. Silva.
What I'd like to, again, let perhaps the people who were not here previously know that we're going to talk about the K-8 proposal, and we're going to have 3 parts to it. Dr. Dasgupta from Georgian Court has been kind enough to come and offer some of the research that she has done on whether this is a good idea. So she will begin. Gus will continue, Gus and I will then continue. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the Board of Education, those gathered here, men, women.
Can we just have some order so we can hear?
My name is Rumu Das Gupta. I'm professor of sociology at George Newport University, where I have taught for 23 years. I appreciate this opportunity to present before you a case for launching a kindergarten through 8th grade structure for the Lakewood school system. I come to you with a sincere and heartfelt conviction that it is the welfare and well-being of our children, the quality of education that they receive, the quality of the future that they will inherit, that nothing other than these considerations will enlighten the decisions that we make on their behalf. Our children are our top priority, and nothing should detract us from that. I don't have to bring to your attention the challenges that our schools face in Lakewood, but I'm not disheartened by those facts, because as a sociologist, I know that these are symptoms of a community in flux, in transition, and it gives us an opportunity, an historic opportunity, to be mindful of the parameters which define us as a community today, and find what works best for all our members, and especially for our children. But time is of the essence, and each day that is lost to our complacence is a valuable day lost in the lives of our children. We have a plan, and we have to plan and implement ideas that will deliver the most for our children and our community now, today. The Lakewood Middle School, the students who are in classes 7 and 8 represent a particularly unique mix. The result of a combination of many factors, socioeconomic, demographic, and those that arise from the trials of being an adolescent in the United States today. Almost 85% are children of immigrants, both documented and undocumented. The uncertainties and insecurities which arise from that status are those which the children and their parents face on a daily basis. Not knowing what will transpire from one day to the next. Will there be work? Will they get paid? Will they be reported, apprehended, and deported? A system which is deliberately broken to enhance the vulnerability of the immigrant, whose cheap labor society wants and preys upon. But I'm not here to argue about U.S. immigration policy, but to remind those here today that the anxiety that infects our immigrant community is one which their children carry with them each day of their lives. And it is this that they bring with them to the school. A vulnerability which their young minds cannot quite comprehend, but which deals them a weak hand as they negotiate all the other challenges that puberty and adolescence puts them in. In this situation of flux and volatility, they need a place which gives them a sense of security, of continuity, a sense of belonging, a place where teachers, administrators, the support staff knows them by their name, knows their parents, where they are with friends and peers they have known for few years of their young lives, all of which makes the school a safe haven, a sanctuary. And K through 8 is the school which offers the child a place where they can experience constancy, a steadiness, that will free up their anxieties and enable them to better concentrate on their studies and give them the force they need to deal with the typical conflicts of adolescence. Research indicates over and over again that the adolescent sees the school as a place to be with friends, where they form peer relationships, where they develop a sense of community, a sense of what it means to belong to a society to which one will have to be accountable.
This is what Jerome does.
And to develop a sense of ownership.
That's what he's been doing.
To recognize that their welfare and well-being is tied up with the welfare and
What did Michael ask me?
of all the others. Accountability and ownership. There are people here who care for me, who have known me from the day I stepped into the school, whose opinions matters to me, who I know are watching me. There are children in kindergarten and first and second grade who are my siblings or friends of my siblings, who too are watching me and wanting to emulate me. I better mind my step, better be the best I can be, because I don't want to let them down. I'm theirs and they are mine. This is my school, my home away from home. I want no harm to come to it and to those who are here. These are the feelings which undergird a strong community, a good school, and they don't develop in a vacuum, but in society, in school itself. And the longer they can remain in one school setting, the stronger these ties become. The teachers watch them as they grow from being children to adolescents. It is the same group of friends who probably are also their neighbors, where parents know each other, with whom they grow up from kindergarten to 8th grade. It is this model of education of K through 8 which informs the best schools in the country and in New Jersey. The best private schools are K-8 and often K-12. There are so many schools in our own immediate neighborhood which emulate the same model. In Brielle, Belmar, Avon, Bradley Beach, Fairhaven, Little Silver, Rumson, Manasquan, Spring Lake Heights, Shrewsbury. I'm sure there are more. What I have heard is how the entire student population comes together to assist each other to negotiate the school and its curriculum. Many of these schools are in communities which have the same demographics as Lakewood. And often it is the kindergartner or the first grader who is the native Spanish speaker, with whom the 8th grader, whose first language is English, can practice her Spanish conjugations and in turn,
Eighth grader talking to a kindergarten.
All under the benevolent and watchful eye of teachers and their aides. A reciprocity develops where each grade, each child gives and takes, learns and guides, becomes mentors and mentees, which further strengthens the ties that nurtures and protects. It is when children are yanked out of a school where these ties have been nurtured and put into the volatile mix of a 2-year school when the largest number of adjustment problems occur. The revolving door of the 2-year middle school does not allow the student to develop an identity, a community, a sense of belonging, accountability. And before they know it, they are yanked out again and thrown into the commotion of a high school where their isolation is further exacerbated. And it is this isolation which makes them the most vulnerable for trouble, leaves them exposed, defenseless, when drugs and gangs and sex tempt them to show their prowess in destructive ways, preying on their insecurities. And in this climate, education and academic development is thrown into the gutter as the energies and efforts of teachers and administrators are spent simply policing the corridors and keeping the children safe, where the school becomes a prison. where the anxieties that the children already feel are thrown into the mix to make the school an inferno, where all their dreams and ours are extinguished. But we have an opportunity here today, now, to change that untenable reality by restructuring the school from K to 8 so it becomes a rich and flourishing community school, a neighborhood school where children can study and play and grow, nurture and be nurtured in a climate which research has shown enhances academic development, encourages parental involvement, minimizes the trauma of transition, reduces emotional difficulties for adolescents, fosters a safer climate where there are fewer fights, promotes a less sexually charged environment, which leads to later initiation of sexual activity, encourages higher attendance, lower suspension rates, cultivates strong bonds of friendship and support, reduces peer pressure, lessens defiance in a climate modified by the eyes on the street. That is the watchful eyes of the teachers, administrators, parents, the community at large, where the continuing and stable culture and ethos of one school mission guides and instructs them for 9 critical and crucial years as they grow from the wide-eyed 5-year-old to the wise, all-knowing and dynamic 12. Thank you.
Through the chair. Ms. Silva, sorry, Doctor, you teach at Georgia Court?
Yes, I do.
What do you teach?
I teach sociology.
And just for the benefit of the minutes here, if we had to summarize what your what was a topic, if you would, what are you promoting K to 8? Is that?
Yes, I am, absolutely.
And that's based on research?
It's based on research, it's based on my conversations with people at the School of Education.